Hello everybody, this is Danny from Deep South Homestead. We want to take you into the greenhouse and give you a little bit of a greenhouse update on what's working, what's not working, some of the changes we've made in the greenhouse, some of the upgrades we've made in the greenhouse, and then some of the future things we want to do with the greenhouse. So let's go in and let's have a look at some things in there. Okay guys, one of the first changes we made in the greenhouse is we installed lighting in here. Now, it's just temporarily hooked up for the video. I haven't got the electricity ran down here yet. I have it run with an extension cord. So we're going to plug it up and give you an idea about what that looks like. Okay, the lighting that you see in the greenhouse here is ran in all in conduit. Now we've got to finish it on out and come around, but what we have through here I have hooked to an extension cord. These lights are the Sansi lights. Now these are not grow lights. These lights are about 1200 lumens. They fall in the range of the 5000K light, which is more like daylight. It takes about 6500K to be a grow light. So these are not grow lights. These are just lights to be able to light up everything where we can see. They have a ceramic base on them, which helps them to hold their heat a lot better and cool down a lot better. They don't overheat real bad. And they're a long-lived light bulb. They're an LED light bulb. Fantastic for lighting up an area. They only pull about 12 watts, which is very good for what we're wanting for the greenhouse here. Now, if you're interested in these lights for just lighting up something, they'll be in the description down below. You can check them out. They're from Sansi, and they have a really good product there, and we like them. That's why we have them in the greenhouse. Now, in the future, we may be swapping them out for some grow lights if we see that we need them as grow lights. But right now, we got enough sunshine. We don't need any grow lights. So we're just using them to light the greenhouse because, believe it or not, most of our greenhouse work takes place at night or before daylight in the mornings, because it just gets so hot here that we're not able to come out here in the greenhouse and work. We have other things on the farm that he's doing during the daylight hours. We can come in the greenhouse and work after dark. Now, it doesn't get that hot in here. If you would say, what's called extreme heat, our temperature in here never really gets over 95 degrees. It has got up to 102 one day. We checked our thermometer thing, but we weren't in here when it did. It just happened to be one of them extremely hot days. But for the most part, our temperature monitor over here that we have tells us the humidity and tells us the temperature in here, and it tells us what the high temperature was for that day. So most of the time it's staying in the 90s, but that's still a little too hot for setting fruit on tomatoes. Anything over 85 degrees makes it very difficult for tomatoes to set fruit. So we're actively trying to work in some things to help us to get that temperature down to that around in that range. Now we're going to be installing a fan system in here. That'll be something in the future that we'll show you. We have it here. We just don't have it installed yet. That's some of the things we're going to be working on in the future. But right now, let's take a look at what's working and what's not working in the greenhouse. Okay, the first thing we're going to look at here is we have some okra growing over here in the corner. Now, it's a little cool for the okra. It's not doing really good in here yet, but we're hoping that as the heat comes on, the okra will eventually do really, really good. Now, we have here some pepper plants. They're different sizes here. We have two here that's really took off. We have two that really have not taken off. We don't know why, but these two right here seem to be doing extremely well. Now we have our mini blind here that we painted yellow and put the Vaseline on and the dishwashing liquid. We can bump our plants here. We come in here every day and do that. We're not seeing as many white flies as we were seeing. It seems like it's working. The population is down tremendously, so we're excited about that. As we come along, our onion chives here, they've all started kind of perking up there a little bit. We stuck a couple more okra plants in here as an experiment to just see how they're working. But then we get down here, guys. These are the celebrity tomatoes. Look at these. These things are loving the greenhouse here. They're doing extremely well. I think that they're going to do good. We have the parsley growing underneath them here as an insect deterrent. And every day we come in here, we just come in and kind of like, we bump them and vibrate them like that a little bit to kind of help pollinate them, because they are loaded with blooms in here, guys. The greenhouse has been a really good thing for these celebrity tomatoes. And as we come over, we still have some more okra stuck on the side there as an experiment. Okay, as you can see, the humidity in here is at 80%. The temperature is at 66 degrees. Today it got up to 91. This morning the humidity was 36 degrees, 36% in here. So this monitor really helps us to know, and we keep it down at plant level. It helps us to know what the temperatures are in here today and how they've been doing. Now here we have some of the Cherokee yellow wax beans. These things are supposed to be a bush bean, guys, but they kind of have a tendency to want to grow up tall here. So we just stuck a few of them around through the bed here to kind of see how they would do. Stuck a couple of okra plants in here so they'll have something to run up on if they decide to end up being a runner bean, and it looks like they pretty much are going to be, even though they were called bush beans. This one here is one contender bean that we planted these in contenders to start with. They didn't come up. One came up and has managed to grow and start putting blooms on here. So we've left it just to see how that contender does here in the greenhouse. And then here beside it, we have a curly leaf parsley. Look at this, guys. That curly leaf parsley loves this condition right here. And as we come down, the asparagus is doing really good. The asparagus you see here growing, this is the Jersey Supreme. We got this from Growers Solutions. It's doing fantastic in here. It was 2-year-old crown, so next year we should be able to harvest some from it. We're letting it all go back to the growth go into the root system this year. We're not harvesting anything. And if you're interested in it, you can check out Grower Solutions. We have a promo code. It's Deepsouth. You use it, you get 10% off on whatever you purchase. Guys, look at this flat leaf parsley here. This is an Italian flat leaf parsley. It loves this position in the greenhouse here. A lot of it's ready to do some harvesting on, so we're going to have to get out here and see if we can't get some and get it harvested. Okay, starting here, this is our miniature blueberry in here, and look at this, guys. We've got little blueberries coming on it here. Some of them's already starting to grow out a little there. So the little miniature blueberry is loving the greenhouse here. Now here, we have a collard plant. The collard is too hot in here for the collard. We've already had to pull one of them up, give it to the chickens. It doesn't do good in the heat here. You can see the leaves, even though we keep it watered. It's really stressing the collard because the collard loves cool weather. This here is the Awari Satsuma. This thing is loaded with Satsumas, guys. Look in here. There's little tiny Satsumas in there everywhere. So it pollinated well here in the greenhouse. You look around on these limbs. There's just little Satsumas in there everywhere. So we're excited about that. Looks like that's going to work out great here in the greenhouse. This here is our Empress Peach. This is a miniature peach tree. It's really taken off. Got a few peaches on it up under here. It hopefully is going to do all right. It seems like it's loving it in the greenhouse here. It's really starting to take off. And then we're trying some peppers in containers. We're trying several different varieties. These are banana peppers. These are the banana peppers. They all came out of the same batch, but one of them has really took off here. Now, we don't know why. The others are all the same. Soil's the same in all the pots, but for some reason, this one seems to want to grow more than others. This is our Hoss Tool seed tray here. We start our transplants in this. It works out really good for us. This is a lacinato kale. The greenhouse is really too warm for it. It's going to seed at the top here. As soon as it makes seed heads, we're going to harvest the seeds off of it, and then it'll come out and something else will go in it. This here is our thornless blackberries. These things are really loving the greenhouse here. They love the heat in here. They love the good rich soil that we have here, the good fertilization. And we actually have looks like we're going to have a bloom there. So these things are doing fantastic here in the greenhouse. This was an experiment to see if they would actually do in here. Now as we move up here, we have, these are the red roaster peppers. These are the sweet red roasters. It took me forever to get the seeds because most places were sold out. Well, we got a few. We've got them growing here. Guys, I want to see how the sweet red roasters do in containers here in the greenhouse. Okay, as we move down to the other row of pots, guys, this is the celebrities. These are all hybrids in here. They're highly disease resistant. They're doing really well. We have the blinds in each one of them there. And, you know, we can bump this thing. We're not seeing white flies on them anymore. We had to stick this one. And guess what? I know it's on here somewhere. Let me look. Look right there. Oh, we got little tomatoes coming on our celebrities here. These things are doing good. They are, this variety I have found, the hybrid celebrity. Now, this is not the heirloom. This is a hybrid. These things do really good here. So, they're taking off. Every one of them has one of these little sticks in here with the petroleum jelly on it to try to stop the white fly infestation. We bump them. We don't see any white flies. That seems to be working. This is our Meyer lemon. We had this in the other greenhouse, and it bloomed out completely. I pollinated it. It had lemons all over it. And then, guys, one day it got up to 140 degrees in that greenhouse because we wasn't paying attention that day. And all the stuff fell off of it. Most of the leaves fell off. Now it's starting to come back in this greenhouse. It's re-blooming. And we're hoping that in this greenhouse, it will actually make lemons because there's new blooms and new growth all over it. So we're excited about that. And we do over here have a lemon that actually survived. I think there was another one right here that actually survived the heat from that other greenhouse, which was really good. And the smell in here, guys, when you come in the greenhouse, the smell is just awesome. It really makes it smell good. Now, we're actually trying some of the jambalaya okra in some containers to see how that will work out. We've got a couple of them in there. And of course, we've got some more of the lacinato kale. These are two of the pineapples here. This is a pineapple here we raised at Deepsouth Homestead. We're trying to raise our own variety of pineapple and get them acclimated to here. So we're trying a couple of them in the greenhouse. We've got several of them in the ground outside. One of them actually has a pineapple on it. But we're trying them in the greenhouse to see how they do. Have a couple more of the okras in this pot as an experiment. Of course, we have another Empress peach right here. And when you look up under these leaves in here, look at this, guys. This thing pollinated, made peaches. We're excited about it. This is a miniature variety. You come on down here. These are the green tint patty pan squash. These come from HomeStead. We're trying a couple of them in a container here to see how they do. And of course, we have another Awari satsuma on this side as a pollinator for the other side. We have more lacinato kale. And in this pot here, a subscriber sent us a miniature banana tree. We've got the root in the ground here. It's only been in here like 2 days now. We just got it watered in good, so we're going to wait and see if the miniature banana tree grows bananas in the greenhouse. We got a couple of different mint varieties in here, and they're in small pots. We have them that way in case we have some sort of an insect problem in here. We can pick the pot up and move it close to a plant to kind of help throw the insects off so we don't have to use any kind of chemicals in here. Now this other bed we have over here, we have a Malabar spinach we stuck back here in the back right there. It's going to probably run all over everywhere. And we have some sure crop strawberries. We stuck a couple of them around in here. We've got some yellow Marconi peppers stuck right here in the front. I got a few more sure crop strawberries in the back. And another Malabar spinach over there. Now I want you to check this out. This is a pickling cucumber. This is the national pickling cucumber here, guys. And I built this trellis that goes all the way up to the top up yonder. And this thing is literally got cucumbers all over it. Miss Wanda's been harvesting cucumbers off of it. She's got 5 so far. And there's just piles of little cucumbers all over it. But because we are in a greenhouse and we don't have any bees or anything in here, I have to hand pollinate them all. So that's one of my jobs during the night or early morning, is to come out here as the flowers open up and to hand pollinate all these cucumbers so that they do well. So this thing is really doing good in the greenhouse here. Looks nice. And as we come on down here, Ms. Wanda has planted several different varieties of beans here. It's supposed to be bush beans, but I'm kind of looking like they are running. They're wanting to go everywhere here. They've pretty much taken over. We had a couple of bell pepper plants stuck off up in here. You know, we got one right here, and one over there. There's California Wonders, and it looks like the beans are going to overtake them if we don't do something about it there, because the beans are just doing good. We got another onion chive stuck in there as an insect deterrent. The yellow solo cup you see here, we have the Vaseline and dishwashing soap smeared all over it to kind of help with any insect problems there. And you can probably see the cup's got a lot of little specks on it, so stuff is really attaching itself to the cup there. So that's a good insect deterrent. As we come down, we still have several different varieties of beans here. We're not really saving any seeds. These are merely just an experiment to see how they will do in a greenhouse. Now, these are the warm weather varieties, so they look to me like they're doing fine. Only time will tell. And I came in here and I stuck a pepper plant in here when these were little plants. And it looks like the beans is going to overtake this one. Now, this is a purple merlot bell pepper. So we're hoping to be able to get a pepper out of it anyway. But now these are starting to bloom. You can see they got blooms all over them. Probably within the next week or so, we'll have beans on all of them. So it looks like the beans are doing very well. And then over here, we haven't quite figured out what's going on here. This is the celebrity hybrids. They were planted the same time all the other tomato plants were planted. And all of a sudden, they become a super plant. They have grown up to my chest up here in the same amount of time that these right here are just little plants in a pot. But because these things took off at such a rapid pace, the ends of the leaves are starting to curl up on them. I mean, all of them are just beginning to curl up. Now, it doesn't seem to hurt the plant. They're blooming. They have blooms all over them. I've looked it up. I mean, there's actually a disease called a tomato leaf curl like this. We don't know if that's what's happened because look at some of the leaves are perfectly fine. Look at them. Look at the leaves on this thing. Let me put my arm here. This is the length. The average human arm is 16 inches long. This thing is over 16 inches. It's past my finger. This leaf is about 18 inches long. These plants are like they're on steroids or something. And I know that they have tomatoes. You can see the tomatoes here. So whatever's going on with the leaves is not affecting the tomatoes because I've always said we're growing tomatoes, we're not growing leaves. But we just don't know what has happened here. These things just overnight shot up here 3 feet tall like they're on steroids or something. All of our tomatoes, everywhere that we have the celebrities, all look really good. We have tomatoes in the fields. They're all doing good, but they're like the size of these behind me here. Well, one thing we're wondering, we planted some yellow pears in a pot over yonder on the hill by the cabin, the yellow pear tomatoes, and they were doing fantastic. And we used some of our compost from our cows, and the yellow pear is doing exactly the same thing as these tomatoes are doing. They're growing great, but the leaves are beginning to curl up on them. So we're wondering, is it something in the compost from the cows? Because we put that compost in the soil here where the tomatoes are at. So we're kind of curious, did the cows eat something that has something in it or what? Because whatever it is, they're growing great. It's just, it done something to the plants, and we don't know what it is. Now, it doesn't do it to all the plants, because right here, I want you to look at this. See this little basil? Look at that basil. The same thing happened to the basil. The basil's like it's on steroids. That basil's only a couple of weeks old, and it has took off like crazy. So something is going on with the compost, and we're not 100% sure what it is. If it's something that was in the hay the cows ate, or what. But it's funny that it's only affecting the tomato plants. It's not affecting anything else. But yet the compost is literally causing the plants to become super plants. Now, we don't understand it yet, but we're enjoying it at this moment right now. So guys, here at Deep South Homestead, we have a lot more work to do on the greenhouse. We're actively trying to get it there to where it is a massive food forest on the inside for us for upcoming days and years. Like I mentioned, we're going to be adding some fan systems in here to keep the air moving, keep the heat pulled out. You'll see that in another video. And we'll be putting in some irrigation systems. We would have already had it in, but we realized that when the company shipped our irrigation, the main tubing to run it all was not in the kit, so they're actually having to resend that to us. And as soon as we get that, we're going to have irrigation put in everything here, and it's going to have its own timer and its own monitor. So Wanda and I, it frees us up a little bit about having to water all the time here in the greenhouse. So guys, I hope that you've enjoyed the 7-foot high sidewall, high tunnel greenhouse, trying to get it all in that we have here. This greenhouse comes from Grower Solutions. Go check out Grower Solutions. They'll be opening up here in the next day or two, back at full force, and we're hoping that they'll be able to get back to filling everybody's orders. Use the promo code DEEPSOUTH from Grower Solutions, and you get a 10% discount on all their items except shade cloths and a couple more items that they have to get through other companies. So guys, it's a good deal. Lots of people are using it. Grower Solutions has told us that people are really loving it. Our subscribers are really purchasing from them, and we appreciate that. I hope that you've learned something from the greenhouse update. And I know we certainly have. Maybe you've seen a few things you might want to try in your greenhouse. I would urge, and I can't say enough, please get you a greenhouse, because you're going to need it in the future for growing your food. Thank you guys from Deep South Homestead.